Another October without Rays baseball. For the second straight year, Tampa Bay is officially out.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Rays podcast. Locked On Rays is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And we are Kevin and Ulysses.
And we are lifelong Rays fans who've been podcasting about the Tampa Bay Rays since 2019.
Later on today's show, we discuss why Wander Franco is still haunting this franchise. In a few minutes, we acknowledge why Stu Sternberg was light years ahead of the previous Devil Rays ownership. But to start, the Rays are officially eliminated from playoff contention.
And we're going to talk about all of that thanks to 5 Hour Energy. Enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. So go to 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Another year, the Rays make it official with an ugly loss on Friday. No playoff games in back-to-back years, Kev.
No playoff games in back-to-back years, and we saw the writing on the wall. A few weeks back, we thought the Rays had a chance to make a wild card, and then a losing streak, couple losing series, and your playoff hopes continued to dwindle. And now, really, the only thing the Rays can play for legitimately is trying to get to 500, or I think they pretty much have to win out to get one game above 500. So all that to say, the odds are not even in the Rays' favor to get to 80 wins or 81 wins or 82 wins this year.
No, it's not. And I mean, you can be positive and say, well, you know, they can go on a run. But again, the sample size tells you they're not, because you've gone 150 plus games. And this is who the team is. Yes, it showed us exceptional runs, a couple of them that got us hopeful for this year. But again, we have to go back to the beginning of the season. And we said, if everything goes wrong, this is a 73-win team. If everything goes right, this is a 90-win team. Guess what? There were some things that went well. The Jake Mangums, the Chandler Simpson, the fact that Ryan Pepio took a step forward, Drew Rasmussen, tremendous year. And
Junior Caminero, you buried the lead there with Junior.
Junior Caminero, Yandy having an explosive year. Yeah. Brendan Lau being more than healthy this year and putting up really good numbers. And then there was the bad side, right? The bad side was Ha-Seong Kim. Where are thou? Because I don't see you. You see a lot of steps back with the bullpen, implosions. You see a lot of Shane Baz not really taking that step. Tash Bradley not taking that step, and not taking that step so badly, he got traded off.
Right.
He got traded off. So there was some good, there was some bad, but ultimately it was right in the middle, which is why you see that fight for the 500 record.
Yeah, and plus, no Shane McClanahan. I think he was a huge missing piece. Obviously, we had greater expectations for him and Kim and so many others, and a player that we'll get into later, i.e. Tuesday's episode, Jonathan Aranda. You know, his injury also made it very difficult for this team to keep the momentum going. And really, for the last month, not saying that the Rays have checked out, but it was like, all right, we're just going to call up a bunch of young kids and let them learn on the fly. And when you do that, and I understand it, I'm for it, because at that point you're not going anywhere. So you've got to try something and get some of these younger kids some reps and some experience and evaluate them and see who can we roll with in 2026, 2027 and beyond. But when you have rookie upon rookie upon rookie, and you've traded some of your pieces at the deadline, you're not playing for wins at that point. You're just really playing out the string of the season.
It's a fall training, which again, we're both all in. I think since August 3rd, August 2nd, we said, hey, you know what? Let's just play the young. The primary focus should be the young guys. And then now you see a lineup with Carson Williams, Bob Seymour, Hunter Fiducia, and you're like, okay, Jake Mangum, Chandler Simpson, guys that have been a little bit more with the team, obviously throughout the year, but still rookies nonetheless. And you're like, okay, this is good. This is good for 2026, because if you think that 2026 is going to be a better year, well, these guys need to have their reps. But really, I think all in all, was it a disappointing season? I think so, because even though the expectations were not there in the beginning of the year, like we said, with the spectrum of wins, the middle of the season, that 25-9 run, that's what makes it disappointing, because you saw how good this team could be. And not every team is going to go through that runs. I know a lot of people say like any team can go in a hot run. Not like that, though. Not like the Colorado Rockies didn't go 25-9. Like, that's more than a month of baseball where you're the best team. It was an incredible run, and that's what makes it disappointing, because you saw everything click. You saw the starters, you saw the bullpen, you saw the defense, you saw the base running, you saw the offense, you saw the long ball, you saw the small ball. Everything was there, and that's what makes it more disappointing than 2024 when you have a fire sale.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we're almost to the point where football season has begun. Even if you're a diehard Rays fan, you've probably checked out at some point over these last couple of weeks. You're focusing on college football, whatever your team is. You're focusing on the NFL, whatever your team is. And what we've seen in a recent period is when you have all of these new faces, you're going to have some ugly games. You're going to have games where you're making 3 or 4 or 5 errors. You're going to have games where your team, your lineup combined is going to strike out 18 or 19 times in a game. And it's not fun baseball, but you hope you can see some sparks here and there, like with Carson Williams, for example, hitting some moonshots now and again. And that's really what you have to try to appreciate out of all this. And the other thing I'll note, last point on this, is beyond trying to get to 80 wins or 81 wins or 82 wins, which is still very, very difficult to do at this point. If we could also avoid finishing in last place in the division, that'd be a little something.
Yeah, please don't finish last. It's been a very long time since 2016. Please, let's not do that. That's the one thing it would be nice to not have hanging over ourselves. But we got to tell you that despite all the negative things that we've talked about as Rays Nation of the Stadium Saga in the last X years, Stu Sternberg still needs to be given credit for what he has done to this franchise.
This episode is brought to you by Zippix Toothpicks. Whether you're looking for nicotine satisfaction or an energy boost, Zippix, they've got you covered with their nicotine and caffeine infused toothpicks. For those nicotine users out there, Zippix provides a discreet way to satisfy cravings and the hand-to-mouth habit without vaping or smoking. Zippix also can be helpful as you work to reduce your dependence on vaping. It's available in 6 great flavors with 2 milligram and 3 milligram nicotine options. And if you need energy without the crash, their caffeine toothpicks are a game changer as well. Take it from me. I've used them and I love them. So you should too. And you can do that by going to zippixtoothpicks.com and using code LOCKEDON for 10% off your first order. You must be 21 or older to order. And a little warning, nicotine is an addictive chemical. That is zippixtoothpicks.com. Promo code LOCKEDON. Zip more, smoke less with Zippix Toothpicks.
Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade, people. 5-hour energy shots delivered tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. 17? You heard right. That's a 1 and a 7 together. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. Isn't that the perfect combination? You know it. Your 9 to 5 will no longer have to be boring, okay? This is the difference. Your upgrade of flavor for your day, your 5-hour energy shots. Get the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Thank you for joining us at Locked On Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. The Stadium Saga, Stu Sternberg was light years ahead of their prior ownership, Kevin. And I think we can talk about the negatives, about how he has handled some situations, some issues with the public in the past, and we won't shy away from that. But we also shouldn't shy away from giving it so much positive credit, so much kudos to what he did with his, game changer mentality, with his think outside the of saying, we might have a big payroll, but I'm not gonna meddle. You guys are the smart ones. You guys make the decisions. And the best quote of Stu Sternberg, I think I'm getting it right. If not, correct me in the comments. Is kind of like, break windows, don't burn the house down. And that led to the opener, 9=8, platooning, all of the things that now have permeated across baseball.
Absolutely. And part of the reason we bring this up is obviously Stu Sternberg's 20-plus year tenure is coming to a close. Over the weekend, there was the video tribute. There were tears. There were smiles. It was basically, it's the end of the Stu Sternberg era. While the ownership change may not be official for a couple more weeks, the Rays gave him a video tribute. He did interviews with the TV crew. I think he was even the ball boy for a little bit during one of the games over the course of the weekend. But, as much as we have, and we're not the only ones, a lot of people out there that have hammered Stu for the handling of the stadium saga and not playing ball or just not living up to his end of the agreement with getting a new stadium in St. Petersburg. We also can't forget how he was instrumental in changing things around from the prior ownership, the Vince Naimoli era, where when Vince Naimoli was the owner, the Rays, or the Devil Rays, they not only weren't competitive and weren't winning baseball games, but they were a complete laughingstock and a disgrace of an organization. Arguably one of the worst run franchises in the game. It's bad when the franchise at that time needed an emergency bank loan to pay player salaries. It's bad when MLB has to get involved to try to help right the ship to some extent. And if you look at what Rays employees said about Vince Naimoli in comparison to Stu Sternberg, it's pretty much night and day. I mean, we can talk about Stu Sternberg. Hey, he doesn't spend money on players and he runs a tight budget, all this, all that. But at least he was compassionate and caring and let the professionals and experts do their job. And I think a lot of credit has to be given to him for that, because let's not forget, the Rays have won more games than any other team than the Dodgers and Yankees over the last 18 years. And it all starts at the top. It's Stu Sternberg putting the baseball ops guys and the coaches in place to do their thing and having trust, not being a Jerry Jones where, hey, I'm not just the owner, I'm going to be the general manager and I'm going to be the scouting director. It's like, no, you guys know what you're doing. And I want you to be creative and try to figure it out. This is the budget we have. Do your thing to the best of your ability.
Is it fair to say, because of all the good things that we saw during this weekend about Stu, like employees of Stu,
right,
and the posts and the quotes, the articles, the tip of the cap, it seems that Stu was a great boss to work for. And us from the outside, we're not employees of Stu. What we get are the quotes and the marketing and the press reports and the clippings. And that's probably why we have such a difference of opinion. The employees of Stu and then the fandom. Obviously, the fandom is going to be much larger and much louder than the employees. But it seems like it was just an issue of him with how he came across to people in a large scale was not the same as he came across as a boss. And I'm not excusing him for that. That is a flaw. And you should know that you should be working on that for 22 some years that you've taken control and you consistently see, okay, I'm not really getting the response that I really need from the community. What am I doing wrong? Like some introspective work there. But I think that's the difference, is that he was a great boss for all those employees and then just not a good public speaker.
Right.
To
he wasn't a public relations savant.
No.
By any means.
No.
So, and you hope that, and it's a tough needle to thread, but the new ownership group led by Zalupski, that he can be that good boss internally, but also be an external factor that gets along with all the government officials and can shake the hands and kiss the babies and get a new stadium built.
Yeah.
And not renege on an agreement that was in place. So that's the biggest thing right there. But I think, I know we did a whole episode on Matt Silverman, but Stu Sternberg, again, we could be in a lot worse shape. We're complaining about 2 consecutive losing seasons. Well, what were we dealing with
before
during the Devil Rays era?
But that's why I think that it's so important to call this out, because it comes from the top, man. And you saw Neander saying, no excuses. We don't want even this level of disappointment to be accepted or normalized in any way. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Eric Neander, because you saying that should permeate not only across all the front office, but the coaches, but the players, but it should also touch Rays fan nation. Just all of it saying, you know what? No, we're not okay with 2 back-to-back losing seasons. We should be expecting more, because you are telling us that we should be expecting more. And that doesn't happen unless Stu Sternberg puts that message out to say, hey, we need to win.
That is very accurate. All right. So by the way, I wonder if is there a way to get those Stu hats that were given out?
Maybe they're on one of those sites you can bet.
Yeah, and I'll have to text Stu after the show. And
can he get us one with like Locked On Race on the side?
That'd be nice. I'll put in that request pronto.
Thank you.
Moving on now, the elephant in the room for the Rays isn't just injuries or inconsistency. It is the void left by one Wander Franco. Well, you've probably seen a million ads for hair growth products and thought, sure, like that actually works. There are so many products out there, and it's hard to know which ones are actually going to do anything. That's why you should give Nutrafol a closer look. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1.5 million people. And it's not just hype. This is a supplement clinically tested that targets the root causes of thinning and shedding with a proactive approach. So see thicker, stronger hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering Locked On MLB listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code LOCKEDONMLB.
Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. So let's not do that. And you can avoid that by using Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Even when you're on the go and you want to know what's going on, you can just look at the Monarch Money app, and there it is. So do not let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com using promo code LOCKEDONMLB.
Thank you for listening to the Locked On Rays podcast and making us your first listen every day. We appreciate it. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, one of the main reason that things have gone awry this season and last season, it's something that still haunts this franchise. Not Stu Sternberg, but Wander Franco. Wander Franco is still that little itch you can't scratch because of what he did off the field and all the issues that brought about. But we cannot forget that there is still uncertainty regarding that massive contract that he signed a couple years ago. Moreover, the void of not having him in the lineup or in the field. If he was available and healthy and a person of good quality character, him being in the lineup every single day would mean essentially another 6-7 wins. Instead, without him, you don't know what's going to happen to that money, and you're trying to piece together a middle of the infield from Taylor Walls to Jose Caballero to rookies at shortstop.
Two things I think we need to understand here. This guy screwed a whole organization.
Yes, he did.
And I do want to let people know, like, if he has a 6-7 WAR season, that does not equate to 6 or 7 wins, right? We know that. However, I do believe you're right that he would add 6 to 7 wins to this team, regardless if he had a 6 or 7 win WAR season. Like,
yeah,
that's just how good of a talent he was. I will say, though, I think we might be even underappreciating the type of level that he is by just saying that he himself could only add 6 to 7 wins. And why I say this is because we know baseball lineup construction. We all do. If you're listening to Locked On Rays, you're in it. Protection is huge. So you cannot tell me that a talent of Wander Franco level in this lineup would not make Brendan Lau better, would not make Yandy Diaz better, or wouldn't make Junior Caminero better. So you've got 3 guys that had really good seasons, but if you could just slide this mother bleeper right in the lineup, it changes completely, because now you might be a little bit more scared to pitch Brendan Lau away a certain way if Wander's behind him, or you might be a little bit more fearful of Junior or Yandy. It just, now you make it so that it's very difficult for you as the pitcher and as the manager on the other side to plan out who you're going to be highlighting on the Rays lineup card. Right. And the defense, the fact that you don't have a Walls production at the plate, which wasn't bad, but it's not Wander Franco level type of stuff. And Jose Caballero, same thing. We did a mailbag episode, and we kind of compared what Caballero and Walls did whilst with the Rays. Very similar. Caballero might have a slight edge with the bat, but not that much. So that's what he did. And then not only the on-field production, but now you can't secure anybody else's bag because this mother bleeper signed a $180 million contract that the Rays don't know what to do with. Yeah. It seems that if the visa is negated, if the MLB investigation comes through, then yes, it might be voided. Right. But they don't know that. They have to know that before they can go, hey, Junior, here you go.
Yeah, you have to have complete certainty. And while it looks like the Rays will be able to weasel out of that contract, you don't know until it's officially signed on the dotted line. Just like we thought the Rays stadium deal would be officially signed on the dotted line. So you until it is a done deal, you just don't know at this point. And we really hope it is, because we could use that money to make other enhancements and improvements. And even with all those enhancements, even with that money, you probably can't recoup the loss of what Wander Franco did mean on the field. Just imagine he was putting up 6-7 more seasons as a 22-year-old. Think about him as a 23, 24, 25, 26-year-old. You're basically looking at a player with probably a little bit more pop than what he showed.
And exactly. So not only, I mean, you got a 20-20 threat, and you could have even his peak could be a 30-30 threat. Like, it's really unfathomable. And I really dislike the fact that we still have to point at this human being, because it's just a disgrace. And we're going to have to, unfortunately, until that contract is voided. Until that contract is voided, the haunting of Wander Franco is still going to be looming over Rays Nation. And that's just incredibly disappointing. And you know what? this team would have gone to the playoffs if he was here. Like,
Yeah.
imagine all of the bad things that happen. This team is what, 7, almost touching the 80 wins. If we're saying 6-7 wins, you're talking 86, 87, which was the goal. It's just very disappointing, and we cannot wait until the Wander Franco ghost is out of this fandom so we can no longer have to talk about him.
Yeah. And not to play armchair quarterback, but if you had him in the fold, maybe you don't trade Randy Arozarena. Maybe you don't trade some of these other pieces because you're a stable, consistent winner. You know, you can go somewhere, make it to the playoffs, whether as a wild card or as a division champion. But without that, you basically have to restructure your entire 26, not your entire 26-man roster, but definitely key pieces within that. So, he's still haunting us. That is for sure. What's not haunting us is the Locked On MLB Game Night Show. You can find that every game, every night, all season long. Go check out their YouTube channel or wherever you listen to your podcast. Again, Locked On MLB Game Night Show. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe, and we will talk to you later.